Good evening. Good evening, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to the Ruby Girl Talk with your favorite Ruby Girl, Dr. K, in the house. I am so excited today because I have three beautiful, lovely, powerful women that's going to share their stories tonight. So I want you to relax. I want you to get ready because their stories are powerful. And if you ever lost a loved one, you definitely can relate. And if you're a widow, this is really going to resound with your heart because you might feel like I'm the only one that's going through this. I'm the only one feeling like this. But always know that's a lie from the enemy because these women are coming tonight to share the processing that they have been doing in the loss of their mate, the adjustments and everything. And they come to encourage others, not to discourage you, but to encourage you to see how the power of God can give us a strength that we never even thought we would ever need. So before we get started, I'm going to ask the ladies to go on my page. Find this video. I want you to share it on your page. And that way, guess what? Your millions and trillions of followers can take a look as you interview tonight. And for those that's already watching as part of my page, I ask that you go out and you share it. You share it because I'm quite sure there's somebody this can connect with. Grief is a common denominator of everybody. I mean, we grieve in different way, but grieving hits you. Like the other day, I was driving and all of a sudden a thought about someone I had lost popped into my head. And before I knew it, I'm going down the freeway ramp and I got tears just coming out. And it just came out of nowhere. I mean, you can be having your best day and then grief is like a gangster. He just come and he just gets to you. So while they're looking for my on my page and they sharing, let me just tell you about Ruby Girl. So Ruby Girl comes from Proverbs 31 and 10. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above the price of a ruby. So, ladies, I always give this special just to you. Makes you rare, virtuous, and as always, you know that you are valuable according to the Lord. So, connect with me at rubygirl.net. Go there, get an ebook, get a Ruby Girl shirt because look, you gotta rep the brand. The Ruby Girl shirt is your uniform, and also you can book for the Ruby Girl Talk Show on there. Also, all right. We're going to get this started with an introduction from Miss Judy Lamb. Go right ahead, ma'am. Give us 30 seconds of power.
30 seconds of power. My name is Judy Lawrence Lamb, and I'm the wife of the beautiful man of God, William Lamb. Um, and he was my hero, and I called him my Superman. And if you want to contact or talk or get connected in some way or another, you can reach me at Judy Lamb Lawrence Lamb, Judy Lawrence Lamb. I got to give my dad his props. JudyLawrenceLamb.org. There you'll find a lot out about me. I just lay it out on the line, and I'm very happy to be here. And thank you, Dr. K, for allowing me to be a part of it.
You're welcome, Miss Judy. Thank you for coming back on the Ruby Girl Talk. She
Yeah.
might look familiar to y'all. All right, Miss Toya Jones.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm Lady Toya Jones. I'm a widow, wife, mother, grief life coach, and I'm the CEO and founder of the Married Widow LLC. What I do is I help widows who are ready to move, they process the grief and they're ready to move forward. I help them with a clear path to move forward and without having the guilt of wanting to live life again. So they can still honor their loved one as they start to live again. So I focused on healing, identity after loss, emotional resilience, and just reconnecting with life again. So if you want to learn more about my coaching services, my grief coaching services, you can connect with me at paperbailme.com/, the Married Widow LLC.
All right, give that to us one more time for the people in the back. Your link.
It's paperbailme.com/ the Married Widow LLC.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Toya. And we have Dr. Charlene Brown in the house. Hi.
Hi. Yes, my husband, first I'm Charlene Bunch Brown. Um, and I lost my husband at a young age. He transitioned when he was only 49 years old. He was a great man of God. He was a minister also, and he loved God with all his heart. God blessed us with two boys, Stephen Isaiah and Elijah Josiah. And he just really spent a lot of time pouring into them. And I'm a proud grandmother of one granddaughter. Her name is Talia Naomi. Um, I'm also a nurse as well as a minister. So sometimes I do help out with people who have their own home health care business. And I work with them as far as doing the assessments and stuff for them. My email is Charlene Bunch 1962 at gmail.com.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Charlene. All right, are y'all ready for this interview?
We are.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
We're
all
ready.
right, all right. Bring the energy. Bring the energy. So, Miss Judy, I know that you are author, AI enthusiast.
Yeah. Thanks to you.
So you have been doing some amazing things with your life since your husband have passed, you know. They may not know, but you are a breast cancer survivor also. That was a miracle for you, you know. So you've been through some trials that most people wouldn't be able to hold their head up. But you're showing up today beautiful, you're showing up today powerful, and you have a willingness to help other people. And I believe that God keeps people around like you because he know you have a heart to help other people. So but I want you to tell us about your husband and how was your life with him?
My life with William was it was an ongoing adventurous experience. Our lives didn't look like a lot of senior relationships. We weren't each other's first loves, but we were each other's last loves. And that's for sure. We did things because we didn't enjoy the youth of our lives together. We were like recycled teenagers. We went on trips. We had movie nights. We'd go to Walmart and get the dollar candy so we wouldn't have to pay for it in the movies. Uh, but we just had a really, really good life. He was my hero, and we did everything together. You didn't see one without the other. We were inseparable, and it was so bad, Dr. K, that we even blended our wardrobes together regularly. I mean, who does that?
That's love.
That's
That
uh,
is.
he was 20 years my senior. And I remember going on a cruise with my mom, and we met some friends there, and they were very concerned. They said, "You know, Judy, you need to think about him being 20 years your senior. You know, you could end up being his nurse." Well, how that played out is that I was the first one who needed a nurse, and he was my nurse when I was fighting cancer. Um, and I remember that we were so close that everywhere we would go, he knew no strangers, and he would talk about his wife. Whether he was selling Mary Kay, he sold just as much Mary Kay as I did. When I had my skincare classes, he was my satin hands man. You know, he was there. He made the deliveries. And we have something called warm chatter. When you see someone like in Barnes Noble, and you say, "Hey, I think," he said, "Hey, I think my wife would love to do a facial for you." I mean, and they would give him their numbers, and he would bring them home, and I would set up. That man helped me so much that just before cancer hit, I was just about to go into my pink Cadillac, and it was because of William. We had a
Wow.
nice life.
So y'all had a partnership too. There's a lot of women that wish their husband was supportive like that. So this shows that he believed in what you were doing as y'all dressed together, dressed alike as twins. And so if you think about it, our fantasy when growing up is that we want a man that's like our hero.
Yeah.
A man that shows up for us, and where we weak or we need help, we ain't even gotta ask him to step up. Am I right, ladies? That
Yes.
he just knows what we need. Like you said,
Yes.
this man out here selling Mary Kay for you,
Yes.
getting connections for you. He
Yeah.
backed your success. So
Yes.
Judy, could you tell us what happened to make
With
him transition?
that was really sad story.
Yeah.
William was having lately. He was having like UTIs, habitual UTIs, and so he was wearing a catheter. So my son-in-law and I noticed that it was kind of cloudy. So I called home health. I said, I think he has another UTI. So she came and she took a specimen and she took it to the lab and said that if it's positive, she will get back in touch with me and send a prescription to CVS. So that never happened. She said if she didn't get back in touch with me, everything was all systems would go. And so, but in the meantime, I saw him deteriorating. He couldn't stand. He started speaking out of his head. He was doing all kinds of like things that were so unlike him. um Very lethargic. It was just a really sad situation, and I didn't understand how a man could be talking about the news and what's happening in other parts of the world one week and the next week ask me who am I. So it was very, so my doctor office called and said, hey, did you get the results back from his UTI? And I said no. I said, they said if I didn't hear from him that it was clear. They said, well, yeah, but they should have really just sent it out back to our office, whether it was negative or positive, and we didn't receive anything. So she said, you may want to reach out to them. So I reached out to them. And the reason why my husband is dead right now is because she put the results, which were positive, she sent them to the wrong fax number.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
So,
Mm.
Sorry.
yeah.
Mm.
Wow.
Mm.
I'm sorry that happened, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as we were talking about it, I didn't know how UTIs could affect you
Mm.
mentally. As she was talking to me, we were on our phone call. I looked it up, and I seen that, and and I'm glad that you're putting this information out here because it might be somebody's loved one that's a little off now, and you might have them consider checking to see if their loved one has maybe a UTI, and that could be pretty common, that's what can be happening with a lot of especially seniors, that we think they got dementia or something like that, and it could be something as simple as that. So
Yeah.
thank you, Miss Judy, for
Yeah.
sharing your story. So Toya, it's your turn to tell us about your marriage and what happened to your husband.
Oh, have been with my husband since I was 17 years old. He was 19. We were together 31 years. Married 26. We have 6 children and now 17 grandchildren. It was 13 when he passed. We were inseparable. He was my hero. He took care of me. He worked hard. He was very funny, and he was just, like you said, a man that just knew everybody. He was amazing. He was everyone's friend, and everyone wanted to be. We had 6 children, but it was like we had hundreds because everyone wanted to be with us. Like we wanted to be with him. His name was Tony, and he became a pastor. I'm a minister. I associated with him, ministering with him at our church, and he was an advocate for women of domestic violence. He threw luncheons. We did beauty days for women in the domestic violence shelters where my daughter-in-laws, her cousins, they would go, and they're beauticians, estheticians. They would give them makeovers and do their hair, make them pretty, encourage them. He was just an amazing man, amazing father, amazing pastor. He would talk to everybody about Jesus. I laugh because before he passed, we were getting new blinds in our house, and the man from Home Depot, he was putting up the blinds, and he was telling him, "Do you know Jesus?" Like he didn't care. He didn't care who he talked. He talked to everyone. He wanted everyone to know. He never liked. He said being in the pulpit. He said, "I can't be contained in these four walls. The world is my pulpit." So I really enjoyed that life with him, in the ministry especially. um I do miss that part. He In 2015, because he worked really hard, and he would minister afterwards, he really didn't rest. He was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. He suffered with that for about 5 years. In 2020, he moved to the fifth stage. And it was so funny because I guess he was like trying to prepare me.
Yeah.
But when it's in front of you, you really don't see it. Like he was he bought a house, he was getting everything together. He was giving me his arrangements, and we were talking. We had talked all night the night before, because we always talk. He was my best friend. He was my everything. And this night we talked all night long. And I think we fell asleep for maybe about an hour or so. And we got up early in the morning talking again. And it became time for him to take his medicine. So I always made sure that I fed him. So I went in the kitchen to cook for him. And he was in the last stage, so he wasn't walking that much. So while I was cooking, I was so shocked because he walked in the kitchen to be with me while I cooked for him. And I was like, oh wow, I had such hope. That's like my big, because he was a massive man. He was 6'5", like 450 pounds. And he's a really big guy. And he was walking tall in the kitchen. And he sat down and we were laughing. And as I turned around, I heard a loud crash. Whole life went before me. He had a massive heart attack right in front of me that day. So
Wow.
yeah, it was a really hard day.
Mm.
Wow.
Oh wow. Ooh, sorry. I'm sorry that happened. You and
Thank you.
Judy have some impactful stories, you know. People don't understand the strength that you both had to carry after that. You know, it's hard enough losing your loved one, but to to see him right there, just pass before you, and then what went wrong with Mrs. Judy's husband, those are some hard things that's in your mind that you have to carry forth. So
Right.
that's why I say I admire y'all both for y'all strength and tenacity. But I know it's God. I
Yes,
know it's
it.
God displaying his glory through
Didn't
both of y'all.
realize that we shared that, Toya, because I watched my husband die too. And
Mm,
the last word he said was Judy. So
mm. So
Wow.
sorry.
Yeah. And I love the fact you said you and your husband were best friends and how he told
I,
everybody about Jesus.
Yes.
We need more laborers like him.
Yes.
That he's like, while I'm here on earth, I'm going to take as many people with me as possible. And that's how that should be our mode. Is like, I need to find out who has Jesus and who don't have
yes,
Jesus.
yes.
Yeah.
You're right.
Wow.
I
So
like when
he's,
he said the world is his pulpit because it's too
yeah.
much of standing behind that pulpit. The
Yes.
Yeah,
need
he
is
didn't
out
like it.
there. That's the leaving the 99. Yeah, be there.
Yes.
Let's go outside.
So
Right.
he was a true evangelist.
He
That's what he
was.
was, a true evangelist. All
Yes.
right. So, Dr. Charlene, it's your turn to share your story.
Well, it was it was funny because at the time I was in nursing school, but I was praying that God would send me a godly man. And so me and my girlfriend had got an apartment in Churchland, and my husband's at the time his apartment was directly above mine, and when I would come in the house, come up and like go get ready to go in the apartment, I would see somebody peeping and peeping. They keep peeping at me. So one day we met at the mailbox and he introduced himself and he said, maybe we can go out and get some coffee or something. And looked like it was just an instant connection.
Mhm.
Um, we were together 29 years, but married for 27. He was an awesome man of God. Like I said, he was a minister also. He loved God with all his heart. Um, and he said he was also praying to God for a godly mate. So God answered both our prayers. And he would just, when he would go out to sea, because he was in the Navy, and he would have a Bible study on the ship, he would witness to his the crew members that was on the ship, and one I do remember was Troy Blackwell. He witnessed to him when they were out, and then when they pulled back in, him and his wife came to Oak Grove, and now Troy is a pastor in North Carolina, so he just loved God. He would pass out tracts, and then me and him had a nursing home ministry in Suffolk where we would go and because my son, he's a minister of music, my oldest son, and he would play the piano and we would sing. And then one week, my husband Charles would preach. The next minute that I would preach, and we just really enjoyed ourselves. And like they said, we were just like best friends. My pastor used to say that we were just like peanut butter and jelly, that you didn't see one without the other. And
Yeah.
we would sit up for hours at night just talking to one another, and it was just like we could tell each other anything without any judgment or anything like that. And he was um he was a good man. He was a good man. He at work, he sometimes would sneak in and bring some flowers and balloons and tell somebody to put it on the desk for me, and I would, he would surprise me like that. And nursing is a hard work. You stay on your feet all the time, and so when I would get home, he would have a bucket of water, and he would wash my feet, and he would massage my feet with lotion and everything, just to make sure that I was comfortable. He just was an awesome man. He was a good provider. He took care of me and the boys, and he was real close. Every Friday night, it was him and my sons. That was their time to spend each other, whether they went to the movie or play, went bowling or whatever. And then they would go out to dinner, and he would sit and they could talk to him about anything that they wanted to talk about. So um, he was just an awesome man, and his whole family has diabetes, and when he was diagnosed with diabetes, I guess he was in his late 30s, and it got so bad where he had to end up going on dialysis. And I didn't see him die before me, but it just looked like I could just see him wasting away. He was like a frail of a man that he used to be. He had lost so much weight, and sometimes he would fall a lot because he couldn't stand, and everything. So it was like, so he fell one time, and I had to call 911, and they took him to the hospital, and he was in there for a week, and they did his dialysis. And when he went to the nursing home, they carried him to the nursing home for rehab to try to teach him how to, to get his strength back so he could walk. And he just told me, he said, I'm tired, I can't do the things that I used to do, like going to church and witnessing. And so he just told me, I decided I'm not going to do dialysis anymore. And I was like, but if you don't do dialysis, then toxins going to build up in your blood, and you're gonna, you're not gonna make it. He said, I understand that. I said, well, you don't want to leave me and the boys. He said, no, but I'm tired. He said, I'm tired. So I was there that evening, and that night I was home, and he had coded. And so they They tried to resuscitate him, and they called the ambulance, and they tried to resuscitate him there. And he went to the emergency room, and they still worked on him and worked on him, but they couldn't get him back. And I was just really, 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 really devastated. I mean, it was just like I was in disbelief. I knew that if he stopped dialysis, that was going to happen, but I guess my mind wasn't ready to accept that. And yeah, it was awful. And my oldest son, I guess he was at work somewhere. My youngest son, he was in middle school. So I just started hollering and crying, and he ran in the room and said, "Mama, Mama, what's wrong?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I got to tell this child that his dad is gone." So it was just really, you know, it was just really devastating. And even now, Mother's Day, I used to always, did not like Mother's Day because he died the day before Mother's Day. So I always dreaded Mother's Day. And then this Mother's Day was even worse because then my mom was gone too. So
Oh,
um, this has been, it's been a process, but, it's just, certain dates like our anniversary, and the day of his death and stuff, I, still, find myself, weeping. But,
yeah.
I know he's in a better place. He was saved, and he wouldn't want to come back here if he could, because
Yeah.
he's in the arms of Jesus. So, that's I think that's the main thing that kind of sustained me, that I know that he's okay now. He don't have to worry about any sickness and all of that. So I
Mm.
think that that is what sustained me, and I think that's what kind of helped me with my mom's death.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been hard because, and I know that God had a plan because I was a nurse and I got sick with sarcoidosis, and I had to come out on disability. And I was like, well, why? I want to work while I'm on disability, but God knew because my oldest brother, he got leukemia from Agent Orange and
Wow.
from the war, and I took care of him till he died. And then my daddy got sick, and I waited on him till he died. And then my husband, and then lastly my mother. So it's just like it's been a process with taking care of my loved ones and see each one of them, going one by one. But I know where they're at because they all knew the Lord and they all were saved. So
Mm.
yeah, it's a process.
It
But
is a process.
yeah, but it was so funny. I wanted to add to Judy because she was talking about her husband William.
Uh-huh.
Uh, my my husband never knew his father, so he looked, you know, um, at Judy's husband as a father figure.
Mm-hmm.
And so William had called up on Saturday, and he said, Charlene, he was like, I'm gonna ask Judy to marry me, and Reverend Copeland gave me permission. He said, how do you think I should say it, or what should I say? And he was like, now don't tell her. And I was like, no, I won't tell her. And I was sitting right beside her in the choir stand. And so when he got up and called her down, it was just, I mean, that was just a beautiful experience, and, yeah, it was a beautiful experience. And
Oh,
she was just so shocked and she was so happy.
oh.
Oh,
The
that's a
pastor
beautiful
shut
story.
down the service, and everybody around. Well, first of all of them said yes before I did. But everybody, it would go around the church and shut the whole service down. Everybody gave us a hug and whatever. And like she
Mm.
said, she was sitting right beside me in the alto section, and she knew all the time this man was going to do that. But
Oh, that's beautiful. Y'all have given beautiful love stories.
Yeah.
Y'all was left with a strong imprint of love, not
Mm-hmm.
bitterness, but of love and of godly men that love the Lord, that left
Mm-hmm.
y'all with the reassurance that you will see them one day. I,
Mm-hmm.
I say this all the time. God has an awesome severance package that, when presented,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anybody that says no to it. you know. And
Mm.
I mean, to mansions, to angelic presence, to just be in his presence, no more pain, no more tears, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what we have our hope in, is that one day that we'll see our loved ones and they'll meet
Mhm.
us smiling and
Mm.
we see their glorified body, and it'll be a forever, you know,
Mhm.
reunion. So ladies, we're
Yeah.
gonna take a 1 minute break, and so we're gonna ask Miss Judy to give us in these 60 seconds. Uh-oh. She should be back. But during our 1 minute break, there she go.
Um,
Miss
my bedroom door's open, so I gotta run
Okay,
and close it.
okay, all right. So while she doing that, I'm going to go online and see what everybody else has been saying. All right, so
Okay.
let's go see. And then she's going to come back and she's going to give us that 60-second power talk. Here I go, 67. I done gave her some extra minutes. Okay, let's see what everybody is saying. All right. Oh, okay. We have Darlene out there. She said, "Good evening." We have Alan. Hey, Mr. Allen. He's in the house. We have Mrs. Fee out there. Hello, beautiful ladies. Blair Cherie, welcome back, welcome back. So we just have a few comments out there, but we got quite a few viewers out there. So sometimes people like to watch but not talk. I'm the type of person too. I like to watch and not comment until the end because I'll lose my whole train of thought. So we want to thank you for being out there, those that have commented. And if you have not shared, please share this broadcast. So we're gonna have Miss Judy, give us 1 minute. She can say anything that she wants to say, and you're gonna take over my show for 1 minute. You ready, Miss Judy?
I'm ready.
Okay, she had to close the door because what she's saying, she got to contain that power. Go ahead, Miss Judy.
No, I'm first of all, I'm honored to be with women. You know, sometimes you hear the bad about relationships between families and whatever, but to sit in the midst of all of you guys and to hear your stories and stuff reminds me that even though we are filled with woe and that our hearts are broken, we encourage each other because everyone don't have our testimony, and to
Mhm.
live a life with men that lived with honor and died in honor, and honored you while you were there. My husband never let me give up on anything. When I wanted to throw in the towel, he would be like, Judy Lamb, no ma'am. Even until 3 days before he died, he said, Judy Lamb, sit down and rest. So it's just an honor to be here. I talked to Latoya, and I'll make this real quick, but I talked to Toya yesterday, and she was telling me about all her family that's gone, that died, and I'm like, oh my God. And she said, so I don't have any other family. I said, oh, you have family.
Yes.
Because God is creating and He's in the midst of us right now. I believe that He is bringing forth something that we didn't see coming. And the only
Mhm.
reason why we are still here is because we haven't finished our assignment. So,
Thank you. That was very powerful. I like what you said, man that honored and respected you. Good man. Amen. So thank you. Thank you, Miss Judy, for that 1 minute inspirational part. But I got to take back over my show now. And so this is the second part. And so we're going to switch it up a little bit. If you've been here since the beginning, then you heard their stories of love and of loss. And so we want to talk a little bit more about the transition, the outer part. So we're going to start with Dr. Charlene. We're going to start with her this time. So I want you to share real quick, how your life has changed without your husband.
Um, it has changed. I do have a close circle of friends, but
Yeah.
it has changed because I was so used to confiding and talking to him, and he would give me advice, um, and then he was a man that he believed in taking care of his home. So he took care of all the bills in the house. He just, he said, he just really thought that, man should be the provider. And so when he passed away, it was just like, I had to navigate through uh, the things that he used to do and try to adjust, myself um, and doing for the boys, as being a single parent. So, and I was just so glad that he instilled in them, you know, um, good advice, what to do and not to do. And, so it kind of made that transition a little easier because, he had instilled that in them. Um, but I was caught between two places. Should I keep the house or just try to sell it? And I said, well, I could keep it, but then I didn't want to be struggling. So my dad died 8 months before my husband. So they died 8 months apart. So it was just like double grief. And my mom really didn't want to be home by herself. So, and I know that, she was getting, well, in age. So I decided just to, to pack up my stuff and to move in with her. And I'm glad I did because then I had to end up being her caregiver. But she died as a right old age of 94. So she lived a good long life. Yeah, but yes, it changed because I had to, just pack the house up and move. And then it was just like I just lost my best friend. Like I said, I have a good circle of friends, but sometimes when like, if he was here, I could tell him this or tell him that, so I really miss that. I really miss that. He was a quiet man, but he was a wise man,
Hmm.
and he will always impart, his wisdom um, in people around him. And so I just really miss that, about him. So, uh, but I'm still trying to move forward. It's still a process. He's been gone 11 years, but it's still a process. And I haven't thought about dating
Mm,
or anything
Mhm.
like that because it's
yeah.
just like, I don't know. He was the best. And I know that nobody can, somebody told me another man shouldn't have to fill his shoes. He need to fill his own shoes, which I understand that, but it's just like, you know, I'm like, God, if you send him, but I'm just waiting to see what God's gonna do.
Oh man, that's the most important thing. And
Yeah.
it's hard not to compare your next. When it's just
Mm-hmm.
like when you have something that's really good, you look for everything else to be at
Mm-hmm.
that standard, but it don't
Yeah.
always be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So we're gonna go with Miss Toya.
My life has changed tremendously after my husband passed. I said he was my everything, my best friend, confidant, provider. Um, I didn't think I was gonna make it. I went to the doctor because I ended up getting really sick, and I was ordered into suicide watch because I wanted to be with him. I didn't want to be here anymore. So I was made to go to counseling 5 times a week. And but I was like, I don't care. I didn't have the will at that moment. I was diagnosed with grief shock and PTSD, mentally unstable. Um, and I had to really just surrender to the Lord. I became a woman of prayer. And and I know my husband, he provided for me even in death. He was praying because he knew that our 6 children, because he was such a pillar of our family,
Hmm.
he knew that they wouldn't be in the shape to take me in after he passed away. So we were talking and he told me, "You're going to get married again." And I said, "No, I'm not. You crazy. There's no one else here for me but you." And he was like, "That's good to hear, but you're going to get married again and it's okay." He said, "It's okay." So, going through all that I went through, I am now married again,
Mm.
um, to a wonderful man. He said past me. I was in the restaurant, Famous Days, and I was with a cousin and my daughter, and he said he felt me in the spirit, and he knew that I was his wife. Like he heard from God, and he's a very understanding man. He allows me to grieve, to mourn. He doesn't intrude or get offended, and he's there for me. So I thought that I would never love it, which I won't. I won't because that's our history with my late husband. But I do have a companion that helps me through. So my children love him. And our family, he's helping our family to continue on because losing my husband was a really, really hard loss. So now I'm not in because he was the pastor, I just helped him. So I don't have the church, but I'm doing ministry and the grief life coaching, trying to help other widows and other people, because I do help coach women in other situations to learn to try to move forward. You can move forward.
Amen.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I'm getting different versions of widowhood from each
Mhm.
one of y'all. From Dr. Charlene, she had some financial decisions to make. And then for you, Toya, it was a relationship decision that you had to make. So, Miss Judy, tell us
Yeah.
what your life been like.
Yeah. Um, I'm still trying to figure it out. It's pretty new for me, just 4 months ago, so it's
Yeah.
pretty raw. But my life has dramatically changed. I miss waking up and snuggling with him and talking about what we're going to do for the day. And now my day begins in tears, and I try to get my tears out so that I don't bring everyone else down. So I do it in the privacy of my bed. I miss our Thursday mornings breakfast at our favorite cafe, and I miss the movie nights every Friday night. Everything that we did was so like we knew what we were going to do. It was always the same, and we never got bored with it. I could be sitting beside him and say, "Hey, you know what? I want to go to New York tomorrow," and he load up the car, let's go. Hey, I want to go to Myrtle Beach. Be there. I want to go to Walmart. It didn't matter. And that's something I changed because when I had cancer, I had side effects from the chemotherapy, and I haven't driven in 12 years. And the reason is because it looks like traffic is coming at me. It's like I'm having these problems with thinking that the traffic is coming near me. So I have to depend on someone to take me everywhere I need to go. And before that, it wasn't a problem when I
Mhm.
had him. But people have lives, and sometimes their schedules won't allow them to meet my whims. So that's been a really big thing because I'm a mover and a goer and a shaker. I've never been one to sit idly by. I've always been very out there doing things. And so now I have to basically, plan for it and whatever. I am blessed though, because my daughter works for the airport. So I can fly anywhere I want in the world free.
Good.
Oh, okay.
The only
Yeah.
thing is that I'm so paranoid because I'm not. I've had 3 strokes. I had one stroke in my inner ear, and I had two on my brain.
Mm.
So I'm not that stable sometimes, and so I'm not really comfortable traveling alone. If I had a travel partner or something, it would be one thing. But that kind of locks me down. I am blessed that I'm still able to climb those stairs without using the stair lift. My mother always tell me, use the stair lift, Judy. That's too much. You look so tired. But as long as God gives me the ability to climb those steps, I'm gonna do it. And so I go up there and yeah, I'm looking at Charlene and I'm looking at Toya and I'm thinking, you're so blessed because I can still look at my mommy's tummy and see the house I lived in, and that's just so surreal to me. That means the world to me. And if she feisty, she is a handful. And sometimes I see some of her in me and I'm like, whoa, but I am blessed. I do want to touch on this though. One of the things that I want to do is give widows a voice, not only with you, Dr. K, and I hope this isn't the last time you have a show with widows because they are out there and they need to tell their story. But I'm in the process of compiling an anthology. I started writing a book. It was called It Takes a Ruth for a Boaz, which is actually what Charlene calls her husband. But it takes a Ruth for a Boaz. And for some reason, I wrote about 5 books and never could finish that book. And William said, well, what is it with that book that you can't finish that one book? He said, don't you feel it? And I said, I do. He said, well, why can't you finish it? I didn't know. What the Lord showed me was it wasn't time because God hadn't finished writing it. And that book, it takes a Ruth for Boaz, is going to become, it takes not only a Ruth, that is the main time, but there'll be chapters in the anthology. Charlene, it takes a Charlene. It takes a Judy. So all of us who have our chapters, it would give voice because I had widows who want to tell their stories in the anthology, but they didn't think, Dr. K, that they would be able to do it here. They wanted to, but they didn't think that they could. And I wanted to tell them that even if you broke down and cried, which I did a couple of times, but y'all didn't know it,
Yeah.
um, it's okay because it's a safe place. So I do thank you for what you do, and I thank you for this ministry. You don't know what you've done, Toya. I had stopped taking my insulin. I had stopped taking medication. I wanted to die. I wanted to go with William. And then I said, what would that say to what he has sold me all of these years? This man has poured life into me, and I'm to surrender it. That would be a dishonor to him. And that's what kept me going. And then I'm my mother's only child. To leave my 97-year-old mother and to know that her child took her life, what would that do to her? So I realized the selfishness of it. And so God turned me around. I want to live. I want to do things. I want to do great things. And you bragging about your 17 grandkids. Well, I beat you by 14 because I got 31 grandchildren and I've got 18 great grandchildren,
Wow.
and I'm their only child. So when
Wow.
I say when they say multiply, it was a lot of multiplication going on in my family. But I'm just so blessed to have them, to have children that love me and honor me and rise up and call me blessed. I do have that. And that's something that every mother can't testify to. There's so much between the mothers and the sons. My son and I, my baby son and I, are always saying, "Mother, behold thy son; son, behold thy mother." We're writing a book together called Divine. What is it? Divine. And see that? Well, whatever it is divine. And we're writing we are writing it together. My daughter and them, they're compelling me to write my poetries and things. So when I write my poems and they're putting it in, thanks to Dr. K here, we take her classes and she's teaching us a lot of wonderful things. Did y'all know that y'all could be authors? Um, you can be authors. You don't even have to write it. All you got to do is say so.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the graphics. I had to pay for graphics when I was writing my books and
Yeah.
whatever. So you don't have to pay your graphic, and they're yours because you created them. So on that note, I would tell you to maybe check her out later, talk to her, have a conversation about it. It's very relaxing. It's very relaxing. And then I love what they do. My son just told me this morning, he and I are the only ones that's up 1, 2, and 3 o'clock in the morning. Alan and I, we work nights and we work days. I don't know when we sleep. But he told me, he said, I want you to write a poem about a widow standing at the window looking for her husband to come back home. And I wrote the poem, and then he said, I want you to send it to my sister. And I sent it to her, and it became a song. And next thing I know, the song became a video. So I'm telling y'all what y'all do. And Charlene and Toya, I can see what both of y'all are doing. I can see how this would really benefit you. It would make you, it would enhance what you're already doing. How you like that plug, Dr. K?
Girl, that was a fantastic plug.
You can pay me later.
I will. It's the check in the mail. So thank you, ladies, for sharing. I thank you, Toya, that you still here. I thank you, Judy, that you still here. And I think about if you wasn't here and how you're hearing the impact that you're having, the things that you have accomplished. So I'm glad you did not allow the enemy of grief to steal the impact and the purpose that God still have for you in the earth. So this is our last quick question. We only got just a few minutes. So what advice would you give the family and friends that are supporting widows? Who wants to go first on this one? I'm gonna give y'all a choice.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I would say just occupy space. Don't try to find the best thing to say because it doesn't come off right. Though you're trying to be caring, we understand, but at that moment, we just want our husband, and that's it. That one face. That's what we're looking for. So just love on them, occupy space. Don't ask them what they need. Just stay around, observe. Even after the services, keep calling, keep showing up. Just do what you see need to be done because we're in the fog. We don't think straight. We just need love, support, and care.
All right. That sounds good. All right. I'm gonna go with Dr. Charlene.
Yes, my advice to the family would be just to be there for them. Don't be judgmental because some people need to go to grief counseling in order to go through the process because people can get stuck and they need a safe place where they can talk about their grief and to go through the steps of grief. And it would be nice if a family member would volunteer, I'll go with you to grief counseling, so that I can hear what you're feeling and I can support you a little bit better because sometimes people don't know what to say. And I've heard, your husband been gone 10 years and you still grieving. Well, grief doesn't really go away, but you learn how to live, without that person. But you still, I don't care if they're gone 20 years, you still gonna grieve, you know, sometimes. And so some people just, they don't know what to say. So I'm like, if listen at it, if you think it's gonna come out wrong or it's gonna upset the person, then don't say it. But but yeah, they just need to be there and be supportive, of that person and just you know, just be there. That's the most thing you can do is just be there and let them know that you are available um, to them if they, need to talk or anything. And just don't be judgmental. Just listen at them and encourage them to go on and to what really helped me was reading the Word of God and praying, and eventually God, gave me peace with the situation. So that's the best advice that I could give them.
That's some good advice. You're right. There are some people you just don't know what to say, but you want to say something that would kind of help the pain. But like you said, Toya, I just want my husband,
Yeah.
back, you
Yeah.
know.
Mm.
So Miss Judy, what
Yeah.
advice would you give your family and friends?
Uh, accumulation of what the two of them said, along with the fact of being understanding.
Mhm.
Um, People have different ways of grieving, and there's no set way. Sometimes you may come across as bitter, sometimes anger, sometimes just weepy. You never know. You don't know how you're going to be feeling, um, and you actually don't have any control over it. Today was a really trying day for me. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to see anybody. I've been in my room all day long. My grandson had a birthday party, and I went down and took a picture for the memories of it, but I came right back to my room. And sometimes we want to be alone, and it's okay. We sometimes we feel like we have to push. um I was always taught, always heard this for years. It's a blessing in pressing. It's a blessing in pressing. It's a blessing in resting too.
Yes.
And so
Hmm.
we
It
have to
is.
stop and just say it's enough already. Um, I didn't want to talk to anybody, and I didn't. I didn't have any conversations. I'm not angry with anybody. I'm just hurting, and
Hmm.
I miss my husband. I miss my helpmate. That was 31 years of my life, and now all of a sudden he's gone. And I say this, and this is what makes me angry is when it's one thing to say my husband died, but it's another thing to say somebody killed my husband,
Right.
Hmm.
and neglect
Oh my
killed
God.
my husband.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
be understanding.
Yeah, you agree.
Yeah.
I agree
Yeah.
with you. People, sometimes I think about Job and when he went
Yeah.
through and his friends and stuff, when he just really needed somebody to sit with him so he could process. Sometimes it's presence.
Right.
It's all you need,
Hmm.
not words.
Right.
Like you
Right.
said,
Yeah.
there's not words that you can say
Hmm.
that could change somebody's grief or give some people just want what they lost, who they lost. So ladies, I want to thank you all for sharing tonight. Definitely sharing, being transparent. So we only got like 1 minute. So real quick, if you would just give everybody your contact information. We'll start with you, Miss Judy. How can they get in contact with you?
JudyLawrenceLamb.org. Um, and I got to say this, I got to say something extra. I had to say this. I questioned when it was told to me when God brought it to my attention that the name of my ministry was Judy Lawrence Lamb's ministry. I thought that was kind of like, oh, I think more highly of myself. And God said, no, that's not what it is. He says when a farmer has a cattle, he brands his cattle. He said, I'm branding you, and that's
Hmm.
why you're Judy Lawrence Lamb Ministries. So it's not about false pride or anything of the sort. So JudyLawrenceLamb.org, and you can reach me for literacy, legacy. We have a lot, and I'm connected to the Chosen Ones um, Ministries Network, which Toya has just become a part of with her ministry, but it's the Chosen Ones Ministries network.
Okay. Miss Toya, right quick, how can we get in contact with you?
You can go to my website at paperbellme.com / the Married Widow LLC.
Okay. So make sure after our broadcast, y'all go back in the chat and put these links in there. I forgot to sign someone out there to be my secretary for tonight. All right, Dr. Charlene, tell us right quick how they can get in touch with you.
Charlene Bunch 1962 at gmail.com.
Okay, all right. So, ladies, thank you so much for sharing tonight, and you giving us tools on how to support people that are grieving and how to understand people that are grieving a little bit better. For us, like I said, we think our job is done to show up before the funeral, and then after that, we just think that that's it, that y'all got it from them. But sometimes that's the hardest part is the
Yes.
after. So, all right, everybody, I want to thank you for watching. Tune in next week at 8:30 once again so you can connect with Dr. K. And so I want y'all to have a fantastic night. What we're doing, we're signing off Facebook. And so thank you, everyone. Have a blessed and wonderful night.
Good night. Thank